Awesome. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Summit Podcast, episode 2. You may notice that someone isn't here today, perhaps over in this general region right here, but he looks a little bit like someone else. Anyways, he is out because he has just gotten his wisdom teeth out and his mouth is bleeding and he looks like a chipmunk and it's fantastic. If you're interested in seeing what that looks like, he posted a photo on my Twitter. You can check it out there at twitter.com/winterbear2015 and you can see his beautiful face. So in the meantime,
I've not yet seen this.
Oh, you need to check it out. It's great.
I can now see it.
Yep. I could throw it on stream, but I don't think I will. I think leaving it as is the best for now. So if if you're watching this later, go check it out. Yeah, but so he's away, and I don't even know if he's gonna show up in chat. I hope so, but he may be asleep, or he may be going to see his surgeon, depending on some things. He's said his face was bleeding quite a bit. You haven't slept yet, though, SideQuest. Why have you not slept yet?
You should do that in a couple hours after the podcast.
Yeah, in about 2 hours, you should definitely get some sleep. Okay, well, so today we're going to be just saying, first of all, I guess I should introduce the podcast. So this is the Summit Podcast where we talk about games and everything to do with games and the gaming industry and the industry that surrounds games. So, and we're more often than not talking about random stuff. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, check us out. We're always posted, we're always live rather, on Saturdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is it 4 p.m. GMT?
Yes, 4 p.m. GMT.
Okay, awesome. In 2 hours you have something to do. Well, I mean, I guess you're stuck then. I guess you're not sleeping. So, thanks for coming out. Yeah, so anyways, we should start off with our discussion of the week, which is going to be our E3 predictions. So, do you want to start that off?
Yeah, sure. So I basically just made a list of things I'm expecting to see, some of which are just, oh, this may be there, but some of the things I have more to say about, so I could sort of just go through the list a bit if you want.
Yeah, sure. However you want to handle it.
Right. I could have organised them a bit better. So I am expecting something big from Bethesda. I've spoken about this quite a bit on my channel. They seem to be hinting at big things coming. Now, I would like to see some sort of Elder Scrolls 6 announcement, but as far as this goes, I feel like it could go either way because they announced Fallout 4 at last year's E3 and then brought it out in the same year, but a lot of people seem to be saying that the Elder Scrolls 6 probably won't come out until at least next year, so it'll be interesting to see how they handle things with that one.
Yep. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so there's that. I'll leave Dishonored 2 I wanted to talk about, because Dishonored 2, they announced it at last year's E3 with a trailer and then pretty much went silent for quite a while. They didn't really talk about it much, but recently they started doing more interviews. People over at Arcane have started doing more interviews talking about it a bit more, and they have announced now officially that it's going to be pushed back till November 11th. So I'm hoping that they will take this opportunity at E3 to maybe show us some gameplay. I think that's a likely possibility, considering it is now confirmed to be coming out in November, and we haven't really had anything from it. I think that it's the right sort of time frame that they'd start showing us stuff now. Yeah. So I am expecting something.
I'd expect a full game trailer, honestly. I mean, yeah. They've already kind of done teasers, but that's all we've gotten, and it's not even been like a teaser trailer, just like teaser images and stuff, right? So I would expect, like, when they were initially announcing Dishonored in the first place, they showed gameplay and they showed like the unique, like especially like the I guess spoilers for Dishonored, the way that you could kind of jump into the into the mind or body of like a rat, for instance. They showed that and like a particular way of how to handle one of the missions. So if you're interested in checking that out, that's I imagine that's probably the kind of thing that they're going to do again. I don't think they're going to have like a full panel, but I imagine they'd have like a short period of time where they just show a bit of gameplay and say it's coming at a certain point.
Yes. Well, if I were to go as far as to predict what they actually would show, I think maybe because in an interview he was talking about the differentiation of playing as the two characters, Corvo and Emily, and he said that because people were saying that you'd probably be able to switch between them, but he basically said that you'll choose at the start of the game and you'll stick with that character.
Right.
But he described Corvo as more of a brutal, violent, very physical person, when Emily, on the other hand, is more of a finesse type character. So
Right.
I think that's probably, considering that's the main thing they're talking about at the minute, that's probably what they're going to show off more, just because that's what people are going off currently.
Yeah.
Which I'd be happy to see.
Does that disappoint you at all? That you can't. I mean, you still obviously will have the option, I guess, to be more stealthy with Corvo or more brute force with Emily, but like, in Dishonored 1, you had the choice always to either be stealthy or to be brutal, depending on what suited your needs. And it kind of influenced how the game was going to play out, what ending you got, and things like that. Does it disappoint you at all that like they're talking about it as if you're needing to choose right at the start and sticking with that throughout the entire game?
I don't think so. I mean, it's early, so I'm sort of holding off a bit, but I think I'm all right with it because he's from. This hasn't been fully confirmed, but he's sort of hinted at the fact that they'll have different magic sets as well, like different powers and stuff. So I'm hoping that even if you play as Corvo, you'll still have the option to be stealthy, because I'm hoping he'll have all the same powers from the last game. We'll see how they take it, but I think that's more sort of specifically in combat. I am hoping that there's still the option to do it regardless of who you play as, but yeah,
Yeah,
we'll see where it goes.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go about that, and I hope that they show that at E3. But anyways, continue. Tell me what else you're predicting for E3.
Okay. Let's have a look here. Hopefully something from Pokemon Go. That's.
Yep.
I don't know when that's coming out. I don't remember when that's coming out, but
No idea.
soonish. Like I believe it's towards the end of this year, and that's something which has had a lot of hype already. So,
You're talking
and I know
about
there was
Sun
this.
and Moon, right?
No, the mobile one
Oh,
where
the
you
mobile
can.
one. Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Oh well, actually, that's a good point though. Sun and Moon as well, probably.
Yeah.
My thing with Sun and Moon though is that so far they've been releasing things bit by bit. So they sort of announced it, and then they sort of went with the trailers and the start of Pokemon, and they've sort of been putting out information bit at a time. So if they were to talk about it at E3, which I don't see why they wouldn't, to be fair, but I don't know what they'd actually talk about. If they were just going to talk about another smaller thing, or if they'd actually go as far as showing gameplay.
Right.
So I don't really know there, but Pokemon Go, I'm hoping to see stuff off because again, I think that comes later on this year. So, and we haven't seen a ton yet. We've seen some gameplay, but we don't really know a ton about how it's actually going to work properly. So I'd like to see more into that.
Yep.
So look, a lot of sequels. Obviously, I mentioned Dishonored 2, Watch Dogs 2, and Titanfalls 2. I've heard of are in the works. So seems like a good enough time to announce those. Shadow of Mordor 2. I read somewhere a few months ago that was confirmed. But I think based on when Shadow of Mordor 1 came out, now would be a good sort of time to announce Shadow of Mordor 2. Even if it was for release next year, I think it's the right sort of time frame for that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I've got more things on there which I think I'll see, but I don't really have much to say about, like For Honor, For Honor, because that was announced last year.
Yep.
I think it's
Oh.
Mankind and Mass Effect Andromeda are two things we haven't really seen much of yet. So seems like a good enough time to talk about those. Maybe a new Fallout 4 DLC announcement. I know Far Harbor's just come out, so when E3 rolls around, it'll have been like a couple months gap, so they might announce that one. Microsoft, I don't know what they're really going to be doing in the. We don't know what they're. Well, we just don't know what they're doing at the moment. Beyond Halo Wars 2, which I'd imagine they'll probably talk about.
Right.
They could maybe go more in the direction of talking about VR, because
Yeah.
that's the sort of thing they're into.
Yeah, that's definitely the impression I got with Microsoft as well, is that they're moving more in towards VR, and they're going to be talking more about developments for VR and optimizations for VR within their operating systems as well. I don't know that they're going to be putting out a lot to do with VR in terms of actual software, but I think they're just going to be talking mostly about like plans and future and stuff like that. I don't know that they actually have a ton to announce, but if they do, I'm very interested to see what it is. And that was one of my predictions as well, is that they're going to be talking a lot about VR and a lot about how they're going to optimize for it. So it'll be interesting to see for sure.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is, I think, is the current one. That was announced last time, so I know very little about that, but I have a friend who's super into it, so it came to mind.
Yep.
Some new IPs as well. I mean, I can't really speculate much about something that doesn't that we don't really know about, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But Bethesda, because they said about the whole thing of we're going to do something new and crazy, but on the same Bethesda level of scale. So that could be anything. Similarly with, I guess, Microsoft. I don't think Ubisoft will bring out anything new this time around, because I said earlier they've got Watch Dogs and 2 coming out. Well, maybe coming out. I think again, I don't know if that was fully officially announced, but I expect to see it.
Right.
But I won't really care either way. I really didn't like the first Watch Dogs.
Okay.
Crackdown 3 exists, and I think that's probably it.
Okay.
As far as it goes.
Interesting.
So.
Okay. See, I fully disagree with you about Ubisoft coming out with a new IP. I think they're going to come out with a new IP, and I think they're going to announce it at E3. That was actually one of my first predictions. I think Ubisoft and EA will both announce new IPs at E3. But that's I don't know if necessarily that's why. That's I don't know why I said that's why. That's wise of them necessarily. EA has a lot of stuff already in the works, and I don't think adding a new IP is a good idea unless they're using one of their like one of the smaller companies that they own to do it, which is fully possible. One of the studios, that's the word I was looking for. So hopefully if they are putting out a new IP, it's by one of the smaller studios, and it's just an EA title. With Ubisoft, I wouldn't be surprised if they put out a new IP despite Watch Dogs 2. I think a lot of people, while somewhat happy with some of the things to do with Watch Dogs, did not like it. And especially with the bad buzz that was around it after, especially after they had the issues with, the
everything.
Was it E3? Was it actually E3 coverage that they did of it in the first place that showed way prettier graphics and stuff?
Yeah, the pre-rendered stuff. I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, I don't know if they're going to be completely absent with Watch Dogs at E3 this year, but I wouldn't be surprised. Even if Watch Dogs 2 is coming out, I wouldn't be surprised if they just say, okay, but we're taking a step back from E3 and we're not showing any footage. We may talk about it just as a title, but I doubt they're going to show anything for it. So that's why I think they'll probably show a new IP, and I think they do have a new IP in the works. So I'm actually on the complete opposite page from you there. Yeah. So I don't know. But other than that, I only have a couple of other predictions for E3, and that is that we'll get a new Star Wars game announced, probably the third-person action RPG that they were talking about. That one I'm hopeful for, and I'd love to see some footage. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would like to see that released, and like just the title, even just so we know like what they're following, like what storyline they're following, what general structure it's going to take, when it's going to take place. I would love it if it was an Old Republic game again, but it's unlikely. They're kind of like slowly cherry picking stuff from the Old Republic and putting it into the new canon as far as Star Wars goes. So, I can be hopeful all I want, but a third-person action RPG set in the Old Republic, especially one that would just be like a straight reboot of Knights of the Old Republic, is a little bit too wishful thinking, I think. I would love Revan to become canon again. So, anyways, it would be nice. I don't think that's going to happen. I think my prediction is just that they're going to announce it, and I hope that they do, or at least that a Star Wars game is going to be announced, because I don't think they would let up on that hype. Maybe it'll just be like a Rogue One game or something like that. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. I want it there. I think it's going to be there. Rockstar is not going to be at E3, but I am very, very hopeful that their parent company, I think it's Take-Two, since they're going to be there, I'm very hopeful that they're going to talk about it, or at least, mention that it's coming out, because the Take-Two CEO said that Red Dead Redemption is a franchise that is going to be around for a long time. And so I'm hopeful that Red Dead Redemption 2 is announced at E3. I don't think it's overly likely, but I'm hopeful. There is a bunch of articles about it that we'll talk about a little bit later in the show as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if Rockstar has a presence at E3, even if they don't show up themselves. Whether that's through Red Dead Redemption 2 or through potentially another Grand Theft Auto, because Grand Theft Auto 5 came out a while ago. It's not something that was like it came to PC not that long ago, but for consoles it was out for a full year before it came to PC, right? So, and it's been out for PC since what, like early this year, was it? I don't know.
Mid 2014. It came out on console in 2013.
Yeah, so there you go. I'm an old man and I don't know time. That's all. That's all that says. That's embarrassing. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Grand Theft Auto 6 or something along those lines. So I mean, I personally, I'd love to see another Grand Theft Auto, because I've been kind of like, do I want to buy Grand Theft Auto 5? Not really.
Yeah. Again, I'm on the similar sort of area with that one. I still don't have it, but I still want it. So
yeah,
it's a weird one.
It's like, well, at this point, like, just put out Grand Theft Auto 6 and help me out there. Yeah. I don't know.
Especially since
go ahead.
It came out, the GTA 5 came out at around the dawn of next gen, right? Yeah, because it came out previous gen and then they updated it to be next gen, I believe, is how it worked.
I believe so.
But now that we've been on this gen for a couple, 2 or 3 years now, whatever, however long it's been, it's I feel like they'll be able to do a lot more with it now they have the knowledge and know what's up with this. So
especially with the multiplayer aspects of it. Is that your cat there? One of them?
It is, yeah. One of them. One of the 6.
I was wondering, there's just like a tail floating in the background. I'm like, that seems out of place.
Yeah. She's usually here to my left, just chilling.
Nice. Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. If they announce GTA 6, I will get super hyped for it though, because especially with Unreal Engine 4 and things like that. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't even remember what GTA is in as far as an engine goes, but just in terms of all the engines being moved forward here, it's pretty awesome, because they're like, everything is getting prettier. And GTA, while it's like a full open world game, you could make it real pretty, and that'd make me real happy. I really like pretty games.
It was made in the Rage engine,
Yeah.
aka the Rockstar Advanced Game Engine,
Yep. Okay.
which is same
Yeah.
as Red Dead Redemption, so it's sort of an
Yes.
older one.
Yeah, they I can't remember what they based that on. I think it's based on Unreal. But I think like they've made it their own completely, but I think that they had like aspects of Unreal in there. I don't remember. I remember reading about this like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So it's like anyways, I'll look into that
It
at
was
some point, but
based on the Angel Game Engine, which
there you
I've
go.
never heard of, to be honest. But
Okay.
I don't really follow that sort of stuff, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, fair enough. I think like I looked
Yeah.
into it like quite a while ago. But like that's I don't know. I was studying computer software engineering at the time, so I was more into it then than I am now. I still like that stuff, but I'm not as into it. But that's all my E3 predictions, and I think Josh probably has some, but he's not here, so you can. Anyone who's watching, go
Tweet him.
harass him on Twitter, ask him for his E3 predictions. Tell him that he's a fool for missing the podcast. But why don't we get into what we've been playing this week? So do you wanna start?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I will start with Salt and Sanctuary.
Sure. So
I've been playing.
I'm gonna throw that quickly up here.
Salt and
Go ahead.
Sanctuary. So yeah, okay. So Salt and Sanctuary, it is very basically a 2D Dark Souls, a 2D Souls-like, but because I'm playing Dark Souls as well as the same time as I'm playing Salt and Sanctuary, and I was aware it was a 2D Souls-like, but it is very 2D Souls-like in that basically every major aspect from the Dark Souls series is in Salt and Sanctuary. The way the combat works with like the blocking and rolling, all that sort of stuff. Even down to the whole thing of players can place down notes for other players to find, which is a thing I've found that has been kind of hindering my experience a bit, because every time I see a note, I read it and then it gives me a spoiler and tells me what the secrets are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun. It's got a really nice art style. The art style very much lends to the atmosphere of the game, and it's very, very dark and serious and intense and that sort of stuff, and it really helps create the atmosphere around which you're playing, especially since there's a theme of light. There are essentially, from what I've played so far, there's these two sort of religious systems, and each one can give you different sorts of blessings, and one of them is like the idea that light is the most powerful thing. So the whole dark atmosphere contrasts quite well with the light system they've set up.
Right.
It's very good though. I've played 2.7 hours, and I'm on currently the second boss, which is proving to be a good challenge. And yes, it's the sort of thing I feel like if you've played Dark Souls games and you enjoy platformers, then you'll definitely enjoy this. If not just for the Souls-like nature of it, for the action and some puzzle elements as well. It's really fun. I like it.
Okay, cool. It looks pretty interesting. I'm not as into the side scrollers anymore, but this one actually is catching my eye a little bit. I'm a little bit intrigued, which doesn't happen all that often anymore. So I might check it out at some point. It's not too bad price-wise either. So
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like £14 and something in other currencies.
yeah,
But
it's $18 Canadian right now. It's apparently $20 usually. So
okay, yeah, I think it's got like the 10% discount for a launch discount.
mm-hmm.
Yes, okay, so that's a thing to bear in mind.
Yeah.
I would recommend it from what I've played so far.
Yeah, it looks good. I might check it out. What else have you been playing?
I have also been playing a game called Dungeon Souls, which, despite the name, is not a Souls-like. If I can find the page for that, here we go. This is a roguelite. It came out late 2014, 2nd of July 2015, so nearly a year ago. Now, it is an early access game, which I know a lot of people aren't really into that. I know a lot of people get put off early access games, usually for good reason, to be fair. But I actually didn't know it was an early access game because I got sent the key basically out of
Right.
nowhere. So I was just like, oh, I'll check it out. And I started playing it, and then I found out it was an early access game. It works. It's fully functional. It could be a full game. Essentially, all it is that they're still adding content to it. So, like a few months ago, they added like 2 new characters. They're still adding enemy types. So, like as far as like performance-wise and bug-wise, it works perfectly well. They're just still adding content to it, which is a good thing. They're doing regular updates, and they'll keep everyone posted on their website with the new stuff going on. But it's really good. It's a dungeon crawler roguelite. Basically, the idea is you choose your class and all that, and then you're dropped into it, and you have to go around activating these waypoint type things, and there'll be a set amount on each floor. Usually there's like 4 or 5, and then you have to go around and activate them, and once they're all activated, you can progress to the next floor. Has a bit of an RPG system within it, in that you can, as you go along, you get experience as well. So you can level your character up, level up your stats, and also you can level up your what do you call them, like the skills in it as well. So you've got like your main attacks, but you've also got like your magic attacks and stuff.
Right.
So yes, it's a cute little roguelike. It's decent price, and sort of so there's a bit more to it. As I said, there's the whole RPG element, and I say roguelike because there is elements of upgrading the characters in between runs and sort of improving them as you go along.
Okay.
But yes, it's really good. I like it so far.
Okay. It kind of looks like it has a bit of a nuclear throne aspect to it. Is that a comparison you would draw, or is that like what? I mean, as far as roguelites go, what would you say?
I think that's a fair
closest to?
comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't really. I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty close, I'd say, actually, thinking about it.
Yeah.
Maybe similar to something like Realm of the Mad God or Overture,
Okay, that's
but
interesting.
a bit deeper than that, a bit more to it than that,
Mm,
and a bit. It's sort of like a cross between something like Realm of the Mad God and Nuclear Throne.
right.
So I think Nuclear Throne probably is the closest one that it's closer to.
Okay. Cool. Interesting. So you said you were also playing Dark Souls, right?
Right. Yeah.
There's-
So this one, I don't have a ton to say. I have only played about an hour of it, I believe. So this is probably something which I'll be playing more sort of this week, and maybe I'll have some different things to say on it next week. But as of
Alright.
as of my hour, I decided to start from the beginning so I can, if I'm enjoying it enough, I can continue to work my way through the games. But it's very good. I like that right off the bat. You sort of get the tutorial area in that prison, the asylum it is. But I like that once you come out of that area, you can basically just get going, like right off the bat. There's more than one way to go, and because I wasn't really sure. I knew it wasn't open world or anything, but I wasn't really sure how linear it was.
Right.
But it's basically it is. There's different ways to go and different ways you can do things. I also like that you can just run past all the enemies. It doesn't force you into anything. You're very free in what you can do.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take me a while to learn it and get used to it. Quite higher above what I usually play on the difficulty scale, which is fine. I'm fine with that. I was aware it'd be a challenge going into it.
Yeah.
But a solid first hour has made a good first impression on me.
Good.
That's pretty much what I've got to say so far.
Okay. Cool. Is that all you've been playing this week, or do you have other stuff going on?
That's pretty much it. I've been continuing Gods Will Be Watching.
Cool.
Just to know. Oh, and Fractured Space as well, but I believe you probably have more to say on that than I do, so I'll leave that for a bit.
Okay.
I
Sounds
played
good.
about an hour and a half of that though.
Nice. Good. So for me, this week, yeah. So this week I got back into Rocket League, which has been fun. Been playing the hoops mode because I saw it on the NLSS a little while ago, and I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I haven't played that in a while, and so I hopped back in and made some nice baskets. And that's if you haven't checked out Rocket League, you should. It's a good game. It's one I keep coming back to just as like something I can play casually in like the meantime. I don't know. I don't play it that much, but it's kind of like if I'm waiting for something to process, or like I'm waiting for I'm just waiting for something and I have like 10 minutes to kill, I'll play like a game or two of Rocket League. It's pretty good. Other than that,
I probably am going to start playing that soon because I played it.
Oh,
I got
yeah.
it maybe like 3 months ago,
yeah.
and my controller broke,
Oh,
so I sort of couldn't really play it anymore. But I've actually got my brother's 360 controller now, so I can start playing those sort of games again,
nice.
which
Yeah.
has been useful playing Dark Souls as well.
Yes.
So I'm
yeah.
probably going to start playing that soon.
Yeah. I found with Dark Souls, like I'm playing Dark Souls 3 right now, right? I found playing with the mouse and keyboard is just not, it's not a satisfying
It's horrible.
experience. It's really bad. So
Yeah.
I felt like, oh, okay, well, I guess I gotta play it on a controller, and I think that's probably an aspect of the port, coming over from Xbox, and I think for PC it comes directly over from Xbox, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not nuts about using a controller for most games. I actually prefer to use a mouse and keyboard if I can. Like for Fractured Space, I use mouse and keyboard. I think it would be a foolish errand to try and use a controller for that, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that's just my experience. But oh, SideQuest has said, "Come meet me in snow days." So it looks like on Rocket League we got a bit of a challenge here. So we're gonna have to step up to that at some point. But yeah, so been playing Rocket League, been playing Dark Souls 3, been playing Tomb Raider, basically everything that's on the channel. XCOM 2, I actually got a fair bit of XCOM 2 done this week as well. I'm almost done that game for like the third time. This campaign is my third campaign, the one that's on the channel, because I played it twice before I even put it on the channel, and I've had fun with it. I like that game a lot. I don't know. Most of the stuff that I played this week was for the channel because I've actually been a little bit under the weather. So I've played mostly just Rocket League and then the stuff that's on the channel, and then now something that's also on the channel but more in a different capacity. I've been playing Fractured Space a lot. I really like that game. It's a ton of fun. So I'm actually going to change over the topic to Fractured Space because we have a lot more to talk about this as well.
Yeah.
I need to seriously stop hitting enter to try and save this. Anyways.
Right, could you just bear with me for a second here, open my door and let my cat out?
Absolutely. That was the most graceful exit I've ever seen. So as far as Fractured Space goes, I'll get into that in a moment, but if you're interested... Oh, Yeti, I believe you may have disappeared, turned your camera off, perhaps?
It's Skype is... It's gone.
Skype is gone.
The button to turn the camera on is grayed out.
Oh.
But my camera's still on.
Okay. Should we restart the call?
Which is... We could try it quickly.
Okay. I will send you another call momentarily.
Okay.
Well, sorry about that, everybody. Maybe we can get Josh in here too. I think he's online now, but I don't know. We'll see.
Can you see me?
I can see you. Yes.
Right. Okay.
I'm actually just gonna. I'm just gonna boot Josh, whether he wants to or not. Is this gonna go full Yeti, or is it gonna keep Josh in the corner here? This is not what I want. It's keeping Josh in the corner here. Damn you, Skype. No, there he goes. Okay, he's gone now. All right, so sorry about that, everybody. So Fractured Space. It's on my channel in a different capacity. If you want to know the basics of Fractured Space, you can check out my YouTube video on that, on the bare necessities of Fractured Space. So I'm actually just gonna jump into the showcase here and hide Steam. All right, so you can kind of see the start of that video here in the showcase, but I'm just gonna leave it running while we talk about it. But if you want to actually get the audio is the useful part. So anyways, Fractured Space is a MOBA, but it is a MOBA where you are flying a spaceship, which is awesome. and the scale of it is huge. It's massive. It's so cool. It's like this incredible atmosphere. As you can see in the video, it's just like these huge spaces with asteroid belts and like planets and stuff like that, and you're trying to essentially capture mining colonies or mining outposts. And you know, I explain it better in my video, but basically it's like a space combat game where you're controlling a ship and you're playing a certain class of ship. So in the videos here, I'm playing a support class, but you know, there's also an attack class and a defense class, and it's super interesting. There's lots of variety and stuff like that. I've been having a ton of fun with this game because it's competitive, but it's also just very I found it very accessible. I don't know. Did you find it the same?
Yeah, I think when you first start it, you're basically thrown into the tutorial.
Yeah.
And for me, after the tutorial, like I was ready to play it. I got it from there pretty much.
Yep.
So I like that.
Absolutely. The tutorial's really good too. Like they basically go over everything you need to know about, at the very least, playing the Pioneer, which is an attack ship. But I found with like getting into the support, I'm like, I have no clue what a propulsion field is. I had no idea. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll just test it out. And, you know, I ended up taking a little bit of time to test things out and to play around with stuff. And I found that I was enjoying it quite a lot. The out-of-game stuff, though, is what was difficult after the tutorial. Like figuring out the crew and the stuff at the hangar. And, like, figuring out, like, how do I purchase ships? What does that actually mean? You know? The actual like the gameplay itself is incredibly accessible. The UI is a little bit less so that's why I made the video that I made, because I was like, well, this needs to be explained. So
yeah,
so
that scared me a little bit, because that was basically the very first impression you get.
Yes.
And I was like, there's a lot on the screen right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever played what is it? It's like Mech Warrior or whatever. Any of the mech games where it's like you're playing as like a captain of a mech suit, and you're trying to do essentially FPS games in a mech. But the UIs, like the introductory UIs to those, are all very similar to what this looks like, and it's just like there is so much information on the screen. I don't know even where to start, right? But you know, because I had a little bit of experience with that, I was kind of able to manage it okay. And then I kind of took a lot of time to just sit there and figure everything out as much as I could. And so I figured I'd make the video about it and post that, so if anyone else had any questions, they could check that out. I like the game a lot, though.
I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, because I feel, okay, fair enough, when you're starting out, it's a bit intimidating. But when you're at the point where you're into the game and you know what's going on, I think it, if anything, adds to it. You know, you're doing more.
I agree.
Stuff going on and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree completely. Like once you know what's happening, the game is super cool and interesting and in depth, and there's so much content to be had, even within just like it's in early access too. We should talk about that. This is an early access game as well. It just made the move to free to play, which is kind of our news story about it, is that it just made the move to free to play, and that's why I checked it out, because I don't have money for things. But yeah, it's very cool. For an early access game, it's really well put together. Like I guess they're in their beta stage now. I actually would like to look at this now that I'm talking about it. But yeah, you know, it's kind of like, no, please mute that. Don't do that. Yeah, no, it's early access. Okay, so anyways, they're just calling it early access, but it's basically a beta now. It's not an alpha, that's for sure. I guess much the same as Dungeon Souls is early access, but it's very well put together. This game is early access, but it's very well put together. I wouldn't have known it was early access if it didn't have that big early access banner on Steam. I don't know. Have you seen Dreadnought yet?
Yes.
Okay.
I was aware of that before I was aware of Fractured Space.
Yes, same here. And I looked at Dreadnought and I was interested in it, but I wasn't sold by it yet. Um, I still haven't had a chance to check Dreadnought out, but from what I've seen, I actually enjoy the actual gameplay loop in Fractured Space a little bit more. Um, and I don't know, maybe that's just me, but Dreadnought has had a lot more crashes and things like that. I don't know if you've been paying attention to a lot of the YouTube stuff that's been going on with it, but people are basically saying, "Oh, yep, game crashed, had to restart recording and things like that," like in the middle of their videos. I'm just like, "Oh, okay, it's got some issues." Whereas Fractured Space, I didn't have it crash once on me, which was great. It was very fluid experience, and it was very like I don't want to make this sound like an advertisement for it. It's not. But you should definitely check it out. But no, it's a good game. I just enjoy it. I really like it, and yeah, I think it's worth checking out because it's free to play. There are founders packs. That's worth mentioning, where you can get more ships basically to start off, and it's cool. It's cool that they have that option. Ships are pretty easily got though in that game. Like I don't know if you noticed, but like I was getting credits real quick.
Yeah.
Like it didn't take long to get to the point where like credits wise I could afford a new ship. As far as experience went a little slower. That's what I found. Like the experience barrier is a little bit harder to break than the credit barrier, but they're both fairly easy to break regardless. So I don't know, it feels good. The game feels like it's well balanced, which is nice. I don't know.
It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Very nice.
Oh yeah. Well, can't complain about that. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much else to say about it other than it's free to play now, so you guys should check it out. Yeah, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I was sort of trying to think of bad things about it. Not trying to think of bad things, but balancing it out, thinking of the problems I had.
Yeah.
I don't think I really did have any problems with it. The one thing I noticed was when I first started playing it, by default it was on ultra settings, and I was getting a little bit over 30 when I was playing, and I dropped it down to high, and it shot to over 100.
Yep.
Which was a little weird. Maybe it's not something which usually happens. However, as far as problems go, that's kind of small on the scale, and that's pretty much all I could come up with. So
yeah,
it's promising, definitely.
Yeah, I think like I actually did have a couple of issues with it, just in terms of like initially like the graphics settings. My computer can handle ultra for this for whatever reason, which is great. It can normally only handle high on most games, but it was fairly okay with handling this at ultra. But in terms of like the audio settings, I don't know about you, but it was way too loud when I started. It had the master volume up completely, which is normal. That's something that happens normally in games, but for whatever reason the master volume in this game seemed a lot louder to me than other games. Maybe that was just completely subjective, but it almost blew my eardrums out. So that's a warning I'd issue. If you're going to check it out, maybe once it starts to load, turn the volume down a lot, and then adjust it and then go back to your normal volume. And then, I don't know, I don't really like being forced into playing a single class to start if you're wanting to upgrade a particular ship. Particular ship manufacturer. I talk about that in my video, but that's probably my biggest complaint about the game, is that to start off with, you only have access to one class per manufacturer. I would have at least liked 2 per manufacturer, but it's content, and it's also like, well, it incentivizes you to actually play, and it also really, really incentivizes you to actually play for the team rather than for the individual. So, it's a complaint, but it's also like I completely understand where they're coming from with that, and so I wouldn't expect them to be changing that. It makes sense for the way that they're trying to push the game. they have, like, from the very start, the first thing you see on your screen is that teamwork is the most important thing. When you're doing the tutorial, it's like, yes, this tutorial is a single player tutorial, but you need your team to capture the enemy base. You cannot do it alone, right? Like,
Right.
it's like they're very teamwork focused, and that's great. It's actually really refreshing to see that in a MOBA, because a lot of the time it's like, with like games like League of Legends or Dota, it's always like, oh, check out this huge play by this one individual. There's not as much teamwork focused stuff, but like from the start, they're doing a teamwork focused game, which is great. I actually really appreciate that, because hopefully it'll breed a better community than the League of Legends community or the Dota community, because those are toxic as hell. So I have high hopes for this game, and I have high hopes for the future of this game, and I'm excited to see where it goes, which I haven't said about a MOBA in a very long time. So we'll see. I guess we should get into what do you want to talk about next in terms of the docket here? Because like I'm open. We don't need to talk about anything in particular. See, the thing is, we could also take a break. We have been on for 50 minutes. But I mean, we could just go straight through for the 2 hours if you want. Doesn't matter to me either way.
We could. There's a couple things here we could briefly touch on. The Paragon weekend.
Yep.
Coming up. I think it's worth mentioning for people who aren't aware.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
you can sign up to that by May 25th.
Yes.
If you want to check that out.
Yeah, because the weekend starts on the 26th. So it's next weekend,
Yes.
And it's a free weekend for Paragon. I'm just going to quickly throw that up there. We should talk about what Paragon is.
Right.
Just for the people who don't know. So Paragon is, I guess it's another MOBA. Believe it or not. It's a vertical space also, I believe. But I don't know. Paragon, it's interesting. It's by Epic, so it's by the guys who do Gears of War. Let me see if I can find... It's not on Steam, right? Like, it's... I don't remember where it is.
No, I don't think it is. Yeah, I think you just have to go to their website, I believe.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to show their video on their website. That's what I was trying to avoid.
Okay. Yeah.
Just for copyright issues. So if you guys are interested in checking that out, you can check out their website. It's an interesting looking game. I'm not particularly sold on it yet. I'm going to try out this free weekend because I figure I should be able to. I should be able to talk about this a little bit more, but I'm interested in checking it out. I'm not. I don't know. I'm nervous with Paragon. Yeah. I'm happy to check it out, right? But I'm nervous with it. I don't know why with like Fractured Space I'm less nervous. I don't know. I like spaceships more, maybe, is probably why I'm less nervous about it. But I don't know. I'm wanting to check it out. I'm hesitant though. I don't know. I've been hesitant with MOBAs in general, and I think with Fractured Space I was lucky enough to not realize it was a MOBA before I got into it. Which is good for me because I don't know. It's tough. Just to touch on something that's happening in the chat right now. SideQuest mentioned that some of the Steam reviews have stated that it's becoming a money grabber. That's in reference to Fractured Space. There are aspects of it that would make me think that initially, but when I first started looking at it, it's all aesthetic stuff. Everything that you can buy is cosmetic. Even the other there are premium ships which are the exact same as other ships in terms of stats and in terms of abilities. They just look different. So, I mean, yeah, there's something to be said for, okay, well, they're also trying to make you pay for certain things. But there isn't necessarily a full-on pay-to-win thing going on, which, yes, there are microtransactions. But a lot of free-to-play games will have microtransactions, and it's not really fair to say, oh, well, it's becoming a money grabber as a result of that. A lot of people are just pissed off because the initial founders packs were also giving you free keys for your friends to play with you, and now it feels like one of the incentives to get the Founders Pack has been taken away, and so a lot of people are pissed about that, and that's why the Steam reviews have happened the way that they happened. And that's not an unfair statement. It was bad that they did that. They shouldn't have. Yeah. They shouldn't have treated it that way. But I think going forward for them, going free to play is the right move. So how do you do that when initially you're planning on, giving keys away in the Founders Pack? Well, you kind of have to like just prepare your Founders Pack people by saying like, hey, this is happening. If you want your friends to play before that point, these keys are essentially for the pre-free-to-play phase, which, it's no different than getting an early access beta key to something like the Gang Beasts multiplayer or the, or Overwatch before it went on its free-to-play weekend. But the thing is, like, they did talk to their founders about that. They did say this. They gave news. They gave warning. They gave a lot of warning, so I don't know that they could have handled it any better. Is it necessarily a good thing what they did? No, but that's where the Steam reviews are coming from, and it's interesting but also unfortunate, more than anything else. But anyways, to talk more about Paragon, because we're supposed to be talking about that right now. Paragon is pretty cool looking. So I don't want to be as hesitant as I've sounded in the past about it, but I have heard very much a pay-to-win structure with Paragon in the past, which is that you have to like unlock basically a lot of stuff before you become relevant. So I don't know. I'm going to check it out, see what that's like, give feedback as necessary to the developers, because this is what the free weekend is for people who want to give feedback. So
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm interested. I'm excited. I'm willing to check it out. I'm hyped to check it out. So that should be interesting. I'm looking forward to trying that out. We'll have to connect on the free weekend and play a little bit potentially, unless servers are like really bad in terms of going from the Americas to Europe. But we'll definitely check that out.
Okay. Yeah.
It probably isn't. I don't know. It probably isn't that bad. It's by Epic, so they are usually on top of that stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you want to talk about that at all, other than that, or do you have an interest in continuing with that, or is that basically all we need to talk about?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just thought it was something that was worth a little mention at the very least.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't have to say really.
Do you want to cover the DDR4 stuff? And that's not it's not Dance Dance Revolution 4. Sorry for diehards.
It's not, no.
No. So I mean, we
hopes up and shooting him down.
Yeah. Well, Hey, maybe at E3, maybe a new DDR will come out at E3. I don't even know what DDR we're on now. That's how.
I think 4 is becoming the standard.
Yeah, there you go. Sure. I'll go with that.
I'm still on 3 though.
Okay. So DDR4 RAM speeds have increased to what I called ludicrous speed because I like Spaceballs. So let's just quickly save that. So DDR4, for those of you who don't know, is random access memory. It's a component for your computer. But what it does is it will speed up the cache for your CPU, basically. That's like really not correct, but it gets the idea across. So basically what it does is it gives you the opportunity to load or preload more things for your CPU to do. So the faster your RAM is going, the more it can keep up with your CPU. The more things you can load, the faster your computer goes in general. That's a little bit more accurate. Still not completely accurate, but bear with me. Basically, when G-Skill managed to push its flagship to, I think it's 4266 megahertz, that's insane. Because, like, first of all, 2133 megahertz, which is half of that, used to be the standard, like, oh my god, that's way too fast RAM. Why would you ever need RAM that fast? So having it doubled is awesome. but also the fact that it's making this is not going to be super accessible RAM right away, but once that kind of speed becomes a little bit more normal, or at least a little bit more achievable with most DIMMs. DIMMs are the actual RAM chips. That's not right either. You get the point, though. It's hurting me to try and explain this in a way that's like not fully explained. Anyways, the actual RAM module will, generally speaking, like with DDR4, the fastest I think they've got right now in terms of like base clock speed is 3200 megahertz, which is really, really good still. But those are still quite expensive. But the thing is, if you were able to overclock, say, a 2133 megahertz DDR4 module to 4266, that would be insane. More likely, if you're able to, overclock it to around 3200, that's incredible. And that's great because DDR4 at 2133 is not expensive. It's not cheap either, but it's not expensive. And so, if you're building a rig where you have to keep integrated graphics for a little while rather than getting a dedicated graphics card, it'll make higher end gaming more accessible, because with integrated graphics, the CPU has essentially a GPU on chip. And sorry, I just read SideQuest's comment. He says, I got 100 gigs of RAM. Man, you can put your whole computer on a floppy disk. Yep, pretty much. That's great. What do you use for a CPU? A Dorito. No, for a CPU, I use an i7-3820 because this computer is a little old, but it's awesome. Anyways, basically, with gaming then being more accessible, it'll be nice because you'll be able to run not higher resolutions, because that's dependent on the actual on-chip graphics, but you'll be able to run higher frames per second, which is awesome. So, as RAM speeds increase, you're going to see better increases all the way. Oh, is that Weird Al lyrics? That makes so much more sense. I'm so pleased now. I gotta look at what song is that? I'll just wait here for the delay. Don't worry. I'll be patient. No, okay, we should actually continue because this is gonna take a while. The delay's a little bit longer today. But yeah, do you have anything to say about that? I think I don't know. I probably covered.
I feel like you pretty much covered that. I think.
Yeah.
As far as, I guess, a similar sort of thing as we spoke about last week when we talked about the new graphics cards, the 1070s, 1070s and the 1080s. I just feel like, the PC gaming industry as a whole, as far as hardware goes, moving forward quite fast, and I think that's a good thing. It's exciting me and making me want to start thinking towards upgrading my computer.
Oh, so yeah.
It's a good thing.
I'm in that boat too. I'm getting the itch again, where I'm like, I want to get a new graphics card, throw some new RAM in there, maybe get a new CPU. Despite the fact that my 3820 is a hero and has been championing through all of the horrible editing processing that I've been doing. Yeah. It's the damn thing has been running at like 40 degrees the entire time I've been running it for the last like 3 weeks, which is awful because my room is so hot now. But I've been getting that itch, and it's good. It's a really good thing. Like, my rig is good enough to handle most things, but it's getting to the point now where like VR is out of my reach and 4K is out of my reach, and I'm kind of like, it would be nice, especially VR. I'd love to get a Vive, but it's way out of my price range.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I'm sort of, as of like right now, on the sort of the job hunt. And
yes. Yeah.
As it stands, I'm thinking like going straight into saving, and that's probably the first thing I'll be looking at in maybe, I don't know, I think maybe not until maybe like about a year or so, but I think that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Like a full overhaul type thing.
Yeah, I'm in the job market as well right now. YouTube is not super lucrative when you're at 100 subscribers. So everybody wants to sub. Help me out. But no, it's kind of like getting a job is necessary, but also like
Yeah.
I don't know, like because I still have student loan payments that I gotta make, and so like it's expensive, and then you get into like, oh well, I want to upgrade my PC, and it's like, oh, but that's like literally $1,500 to upgrade my
Right,
PC the way I
exactly.
want it, right? Because like if I want to upgrade to the 1080, I also have to get a 4K monitor. If I want to get a 4K monitor, why am I not buying a Vive? Why? Why am I not buying a Vive at that point? And then you're looking at, okay, well, it's now like $2,500, and it's like, well, maybe I'll just stick with the 1080 and the 4K monitor, and it's still basically $1,500, which is crazy. It's still super expensive. Oh, something that actually isn't in the docket, but that I saw earlier today, yesterday, or maybe it was Thursday even, the 1070 specs were announced, which
Oh, right. I didn't see that.
yeah, so they are basically exactly as we expected, which
Good.
which is great. They're going to be able to run 4K moderately well, which is awesome because they're going to be like a $450 card. So
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
We'll be able to see if they finally got a card that can run Crisis 1 maxed out. That's the challenge.
oh yeah, always these cards can run Crisis 3 maxed out. So I mean they should be all right with running. I mean maybe
You'd
not on
think.
4K though. 4K may be a whole other can of worms. I don't know, but 1080p, yeah, no problem. 1440p also no problem now, which is awesome. 1440p
Yeah.
gaming is where the 1070 is going to be in its sweet spot, which is cool. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. I'm into it. I'm into the fact that we're pushing forward with GPUs. I really really hope that AMD puts out a solid card this year too, so that Nvidia has to work faster and harder to build a better card for next year, because it was a long time. We had the 980 out for a long time. That was the flagship. Well, I mean not the flagship, but like it was like the main consumer grade card for a long time, and it would be really nice to move to, I guess, the 1180, since they are actually sticking with this horrible naming scheme. But yeah, I mean, 4K is just, I guess, a regular 30 to 40 in a flat screen TV, but also side quest. Like the thing with 4K is like, as far as recording goes, it gives us a whole hell of a lot of a cleaner image to actually record, and it gets our like, we can downscale to 1080p and it'll look way better, just in terms of like getting a clean image. So as far as like, yeah, for a regular consumer, it's not necessarily a big deal. For a YouTuber, it can make a huge difference. It's pretty awesome. That, and I really love playing games that look beautiful, and 4K does look gorgeous. I have a 2560 by 1080 monitor right now as my main monitor, which is weird, and recording on it is horrible because it's it's a 21 by 9, so it's a cinema screen basically, which is, I like it. I love watching movies on it, but recording on it is a pain. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think the upgrade, hopefully, I would like to make an upgrade with my PC eventually. If I get the job that I'm going in for interviews this week for, then it won't be that far out of reach, and maybe by Christmas, which would be great.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but anyways, we should keep talking. Ooh, yeah, this is a good topic. Steam Summer Sale. Rumored dates. June 23rd to, I think it's, July 26th or something like that? I don't remember. I have it open, though. It's something.
4th?
Sure. I don't know. I was remembering a 6 somewhere in there, but
Yeah.
maybe it's July 4th.
July
So
4th.
there you go. Yeah. So June 23rd to July 4th are the rumored dates for the Steam Summer Sale, which is super exciting and also gives me a time frame for when I need to save up for. Oh, you're getting yelled at in chat. Not yelled at,
Yeah.
shouted towards more.
Hey, Amy.
Yeah. So, Steam Summer Sale. Are there any games that you're hoping will go on sale?
Right. To be honest, there aren't really any specifics. Usually, I plan out a certain amount of money that I'm gonna spend, like limit it a bit, and then I just see what happens. And if I see something I want, I'll consider buying it.
Yeah.
That works for me for the most part. I think this time I'm gonna try and, instead of just waiting and see what happens, I'm gonna try and min-max it a bit more and try and get as much as I can, because I have a huge list of games
Right.
that I want to play. I don't know, my problem is though, I have a huge list of games that I want to play that I already have, so
Yes.
I feel like maybe adding a ton to that isn't the greatest idea, but we'll see. I'll see where that goes.
Yeah, you know, I'm like, I want Gary's mod. It's super old game.
That's one worth getting, yeah.
But like it usually goes on sale for like $3, and I'm like, yeah, I'm into it. I want to play Prop Hunt. Have you been watching Josh's videos on Prop Hunt?
Yeah, I saw those.
I've enjoyed them very much.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's a funny dude. He also has been playing with Ginger Ninja, so yeah, they're a ton of fun to watch. So you guys should check out his videos there. Yeah, no, Prop Hunt. So I want to get Gary's mod. I would like. What else would I like? I have things on my wish list. I will actually open up my wish list. This is, I think, a reasonable thing to do. I can't find my wish list.
The second game on my wish list is currently 67% off.
Ooh.
It's Warhammer Regicide. £3.62.
Nice.
Can they get that?
Moon Hunters. Moon Hunters is a game I've wanted to pick up for a while.
I'm not aware of that.
Ooh, okay. So Moon Hunters is like, it's got a very roguelite feel to it, but you can play 4-player local. I think you might be able to play online too. I actually would like to look at the store page. Yeah, so is it online? No, it's local co-op. Oh no, it does say multiplayer. So I don't know, maybe it does have online multiplayer now. Maybe it always did. I don't know, someone can let me know. But that's a game I've been very interested in checking out. It's got a very good story to it, and it's like the story kind of morphs the more you play it. So the more like runs, I guess, that you do, the more the story evolves. So it's pretty cool.
Okay. Reminds me a little bit of something like, a little bit in the gameplay at least, Titan Souls. Or maybe something like Jotun.
Yeah, there's definitely some aspects to it like that. It's a twin stick, I think. So
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm into it. I'm excited to play it. I watched Stumped's playthrough of it. If you guys haven't checked them out, I'll probably throw a link up to a video around here in YouTube land. If not, well, I'll throw it in the feed. I haven't been using the feed this time. I should do that. I should go to the profile page channel. Here we go. So I will actually throw that in the feed. But anyway, profile page channel. Well, and now I'm hearing echo. So I'm going to quickly mute that. I just remembered I was, before this video, while I was waiting for you to get ready for, for sound check and stuff, I was watching this video, which I'm going to link in the feed now as well. Because it's hilarious, and if you haven't watched Nerd Cubed, you absolutely should. That video. I should have said this is the Stumped Moon Hunters. It's not there yet, so. But yeah, no. So Moon Hunters is a game that's like, I really like it because it's got like a lot of story to it, but it's also got like kind of a I don't know, it's kind of got like, it's very much like a roguelite feel to it, which I really like. So I don't know. It's worth checking out for sure. That's what I'm interested in. The other games on my wish list right now, No Man's Sky. If No Man's Sky goes on sale, I'm buying it. Like, flat out.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, I'm so excited for that game. You know what? I've been looking at getting Rainbow Six Siege, especially now with the new updates. I've been meaning to.
It's so good.
It looks so good, and like I've been watching your playthroughs of it, and I've been watching back when NL was playing it. I was watching that stuff.
Yeah.
It looks really good. Like it's just a game I would enjoy. I wouldn't put it on the channel because I'd be awful at it, but it'd be pretty fun.
I don't worry about that.
I don't know. I might like stream it or something, right? But that's probably.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky needs to be number 1 on this list, though.
Yeah, my sort of scale of want changes drastically all the time. Like looking at it now, my number 1 is Just Cause 3.
Oh yeah.
As a stand, I'm not really that fussed to play Just Cause 3.
Yeah.
It's a weird one because I must have played over 100 hours on the second one.
Yeah.
On the PS3. For some reason, I don't know. I'm not in a huge rush to play the third game for no specific reason.
Yeah.
But it's up there.
Yeah. That's fair. The Soulless project is up there on my list, and I'm pretty into that still.
Oh.
But
yeah, I played that. I enjoyed that. It was pretty good.
Yeah. I'm
very,
like
very nice looking game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I think it would just be something that I would enjoy looking at more than I'd even enjoy playing necessarily, you know? Like because I don't know, survival games like I like them, but I'm not very good at them. So like No Man's Sky is going to be a real challenge for me, but you know, I'm into it. I like pretty things. Bit of a magpie in that sense, but you know, the Soulless project looks really good too, and like from what I've seen of it, it looks like a ton of fun. So might enjoy it. Yeah.
Nothing's really jumping out, really.
Yeah.
Me.
Mostly old games for me, like Gary's Mod,
Excellent, yeah.
like Moon Hunters is not new, but it's like from March, so it's not old either. You know, Soulless Project is also not new; it's from January. Yeah, Duck Game, Gary's Mod, No Man's Sky is not even out yet, but like, yeah.
Let's see.
I don't know. Like I have
Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Oh, that's a fun
I
game.
heard good stuff about that.
You should definitely play
Yeah.
that. Crypt of the Necrodancer is a ton of fun. So I'm actually just reordering my wish list here as well. So
Yeah, I need to do that actually. Looking at it,
yeah. But
priorities have changed.
yeah, priorities, right? But yeah, I think probably like the game that I'm most interested in seeing go on sale is the No Man's Sky. But Gary's Mod also.
Ooh, here's another one. City Skylines.
Oh, that's on my wish list too. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to play that.
Yeah. I'm into it. I've played a little bit of it before because I played like a early trial thing that they had like a long time ago. I like it. I don't know. It's a fun game. Yeah. But I think like that's all I'm interested in seeing coming out on the Steam Summer Sale. But just a reminder, what we're talking about is the Steam Summer Sale that's going to be happening between potentially June 23rd. I gotta actually look at these dates. I did not memorize these dates. June 23rd and
Yes.
July 4th. Those are the dates that are rumored to be the Steam Summer Sale now. So, So,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm pretty hyped for
Yeah,
that.
a month.
Yeah.
To you get some money together.
Yeah, that's me too. I did a Bear Perspective video on it. It's a new series that I started where it's just opinion pieces. I was way too preachy in that video. Don't go watch it. Nobody go watch that video. It's awful. Don't validate me in that way. Watch the next one though, because it's gonna be better. No, but I talked about the Steam Summer Sale and I was just like, it's a shame that there's so much crap on Steam that you have to sift through that will go on sale, and it's just like, it's like, but it's 79 cents. How could you not want to buy it, right? But it's like,
Right, yeah.
don't do it. There's better things. There's better things you can spend your 79 cents on. Yeah. So you have some stuff to say about our next topic. I don't really have anything to say about our next topic, so this is all you.
Oh, yeah, okay. Some stuff. I mean, okay. So I'm not a huge racing game person. I used to be. I used to love Need for Speed Carbon, which is like '06. So I was probably like 8 at the time playing that. But this one in particular, I like it because from what I've read from the article here we've got, it seems like they're pushing the competitive aspects a lot more.
Yeah.
From what I can tell. Now, my problem with it is, the first half of the article sort of talks about how they're pushing the competitive aspect, and the second half of it goes into talking about the pre-order bonuses.
Yeah.
And the different bonuses you can get from going to different places.
Yeah.
Those two things seem to clash a bit to me.
Yeah. I agree completely.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I didn't have too much to say about this because I'm just like I don't want to like make too many judgments about what's going on with that, but like now that you're talking about that, yes, that is a problem. It's I don't know. It's weird because it's like it's like, oh, everything's going to be super competitive, but also like here's the advantages that you get if you pre-order. It's like,
right.
Is that competitive? Really?
No, I'd say not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much of a difference these are going to make in game, but like a Chevrolet Corvette Group 3 is a car. You're getting a car by pre-ordering at GameStop.
Yeah.
No, sorry, you're getting 2 cars.
Just pre-ordering gets you 3 cars, and then going specifically to GameStop
gets you 2 more, so you get 5 cars. And it's like,
or alternatively, you can go to either Amazon or the PlayStation Store and you get a bunch of in-game credits.
Right, which I imagine will buy you cars, which is fine, but also it's like, well, is there like a level up system where you have to unlock cars? I don't know. I know nothing about this game. I know in previous Gran Turismos there hasn't really been a level up system. You just buy the cars. So I don't know, unless they're planning on actually making that.
Again, I mean, I've never played a Gran Turismo game specifically.
Yeah.
I'm semi-familiar with the Forza series because my brother's like pretty big into those. But yeah, as far as Gran Turismo goes, I don't have a ton of knowledge on that front. The trailer makes it look very nice though, like graphically.
Yeah, it's a very pretty looking game, and that's the thing. Like a lot of the games that are coming out over the next while are gorgeous because you're getting a whole bunch of new game engines, right? And so it's like, if, sorry, side quest. I spoiled your fantasy fun. He got his wisdom teeth out, and then he went into the Forbidden City. You're not wrong. I just added the first part. Anyways, so, sorry, getting back to this, with all the new game engines, like people like Bethesda who have been kind of working with the same game engine for the longest time, like their new stuff that they release better be fucking gorgeous. Pardon my French, but like they better put out something beautiful because Skyrim, while very pretty, was not really modern, right? And it's like with everything that's coming out now, Bethesda has always been like they've been able to deliver absolutely beautiful worlds. I'm excited to see what they produce. People like Gran Turismo, like the team behind Gran Turismo, is it 2K that's behind Gran Turismo? I don't actually remember.
I don't know. That sounds right. Well,
it sounds right. I think that's one of the, I don't know who is Gran Turismo.
Okay.
Sport made by. I should look this up because I don't want to be a fool. Polyphony Digital apparently is the developer, which is, I'm glad I corrected that. It's not 2K. I don't know, racing in 2K
2K
for whatever
has
reason.
some racing game, right?
2K has
Sure,
at
it has
least
some series.
one racing game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, so games like Gran Turismo, you don't necessarily expect to be as amazingly beautiful as this looks, but holy crap, does it look good! Like, just in terms of like, it looks so realistic, which is scary for me. Like, I remember playing like a NASCAR game on the GameCube many years ago, being like, wow, this looks so real. This puts that to fucking shame by far. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna link the article here so that people can check out what we're talking about.
The trailer as well, for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is
so
in the article, so it's fine.
Yes, exactly. But like, honestly, like, if the pre-order rewards are not ridiculously overpowered, then I don't really see an issue. But if you also look, the $69.99 limited edition version of GT Sport comes with around $129 in content, but obviously at a much lower price. The GT Sport starter pack is 8 cars, 1 million in game credit, livery sticker pack, which I think that's aesthetic. 30 times PS4 GT Sport themed avatars, based on selected GT Sport featured vehicles, a racing helmet for your customized driver profile, and limited edition steelbook and packaging, which honestly is the part that interests me more than anything else that they just listed there. But I like collecting things, so yeah, I don't know. I think like some of that stuff, the 1 million in in-game credit, that seems like kind of anti-competitive, but I don't know. Maybe it isn't. We'll see. The 8 cars, like, I mean, whatever. I think because you can, from what I've just trying to figure out what lighting works best for you there. Keep the light on.
It's getting a bit dark in my room, so I thought I'd turn it on, but I don't know if that looks better or worse on camera.
It's crazy to me that you're like already done your day. I'm gonna just like, after we're done this, I'm recording basically all day. So like, you just finished all your recording.
It's the weather.
Oh, is it?
It's making it dark. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was sunny till about 8:30 last night or so, because it's been raining all day. It's only 6:30 and it's starting to get dark. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's like kind of crappy out today, but it's not that bad. I mean, I say kind of crappy, and it's like still like 16 degrees Celsius and like slightly overcast. That's it. And like, I live by the water, so it's like it's a little bit windy. I don't know. It's nice. I can't complain. Anyways, but yeah, so I don't know. Gran Turismo, it looks good. It looks interesting. It's mostly like it's gonna hit the PS4 first, and I think it's only going to hit the PS4. They've kind of been only talking about it on the PS4. That's fine.
So, I mean, I won't be able to play it either way, so
yeah,
interesting to me.
That's for me too. I don't have a PS4. I don't have an interest in getting it. It's maybe like, I don't know. Oh, by the way, you know what's funny? The developer is like straight up right on the article. I didn't need to look it up. On the top right hand side, it says publishers, Sony, developer, Polyphony Digital. Yep. Yeah. Okay. I'm a smart one. Don't worry about it.
It's above the article.
Yeah. Nailed it. Anyways, yeah, so I don't know. I think we can move on from that. We should talk about the esports. Mostly the reason why I wanted to talk about this one is because ESPN posted this article. Esports, according to ESPN, is the topic that we're covering now. I will link the article in the feed here.
It sort of reminds me of earlier you mentioned. I think it was before we started streaming, right? When you mentioned about how the Fractured Space developers mentioned your video.
Yeah.
It sort of reminds me of that, in that ESPN starting to talk about e-gaming or esports. It's just
Yeah.
a bit of a validation to it.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. It's like, I'm sure for Riot, who runs League of Legends and who runs all of the esports for League of Legends, I'm sure they don't care that much because it doesn't affect them that much, but it will in the future, so they should care. I hope they care. But yeah, it's kind of like the article is talking about how the role of the publisher is playing in esports, and I think this is kind of an interesting point that they make, and they actually make a fairly interesting comparison between the Riot model and the Valve model for things like CS:GO and Dota, where they're talking about it in a way that it's like, well, esports currently has two completely disparate models to it, where one is like the publisher is controlling everything to do with the esport, and one where the publisher is doing a more hands-off approach. And while the more hands-off approach has led to more infractions, they actually seem to kind of be more in favor of Valve's approach rather than Riot's approach. Riot's approach is very hands-on. They very much control everything that's going on, but they don't really communicate very much, and there's not very much information about what they're doing behind the scenes. And that kind of, I think ESPN has kind of made the point, well, does that, is that how you should be controlling a sport? No. I mean, if you look at, I don't remember what they mentioned in the article, but like, just for my own example, if you look at, say, the NCAA compared to the NBA, right? The NCAA being the college basketball, it is largely controlled by a single corporation, which is the NCAA. But while they do that, they actually have a very much a hand in how the colleges handle their players. And while the company makes a ton of money and the tournaments are extremely lucrative, the players don't see any of that. And the coaches see a lot of it, and the schools see a lot of it. But the schools are actually still having to overspend because schools are supposed to be not-for-profit. And like, there's a whole big issue with that. If you're interested in knowing more about that, you can look up, I think John Oliver on Last Week Tonight does a pretty good piece on it. But regardless, basically the point is the NCAA kind of has more of a hand in how everything is managed than the NBA does, which is more of like the team has the managers who control how the players do things, and then the managers are managed by the team owner and things like that. And then from there it goes, well, the team owner answers to a certain degree to the NBA, but it's largely just, okay, is your team adhering to these regulations? Yes, great, awesome. And that's kind of Valve's approach compared to Riot's approach, right? Valve is more the NBA and Riot is more the NCAA. And so, while I'm not a huge sports guy in terms of like watching sports, I play a lot of sports, and I was actually potentially going to be going into college soccer or football for you, I guess. But just for our American viewers, for soccer. And, one of the things that turned me off of it was that the step to move from amateur or, college player to professional was extraordinarily difficult. And we see a lot more of that within Riot's field within esports, because it's very difficult for players to move from the amateur teams up to the professional teams unless they're going to join one of the well-established teams that has kind of the approval of Riot. Because in the article here they talk about how Renegades, which is a team that was coming up new into the esports scene, was essentially just tossed aside because of things that they weren't even told about. They were not allowed to play, and they were not allowed to be a part of the industry, despite doing their best to adhere to Riot's policies. And then Riot didn't even tell them what was going on. So I don't want to get too much into that. It's in the article if you guys want to look into it, but it's interesting. And at the very least, it's validating that ESPN has an opinion on esports, rather than, oh, esports aren't sports, ignore them, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, what's your take on this? Because there's a lot going on in the article.
Yeah, it's not something I know a ton about esports and that whole thing. It's not something I'm sort of really been that interested in.
Yeah.
However, my sort of opinion on it is it's a new thing. It's just starting to develop, and I agree that there's problems in it, especially from what I've read from the article. And I will say this as well, that if there's something new you're interested in, the article is definitely worth a read.
Yes.
But I yeah, I think you've got to give it time, right? Because if you look at big sports, like the NHL has been around since 1917, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the NBA sort of formed in like the 40s or something.
Something like that.
They've had a lot of time to figure stuff out, get it to the right sort of place, and I think that's sort of where I stand on it. In that, yeah, there may be problems, but I think eventually it'll work itself out. People will start to get more into it, and people sort of realize that okay, this is a big thing now. This is an actual thing, and it'll sort of develop from there.
Yeah.
I am more on the side of Valve though. I sort of think Riot's a bit dictatory on it. I think that I like the way that Valve handles it. Yeah, that's my quick opinions on it.
Yeah, fair. I agree with you. Riot's a little bit too hands-on for my taste. That being said, I love watching like the League, like LCS stuff. I used to watch a lot of it. I used to play League of Legends a lot, but as I said in the Fractured Space segment, League of Legends community is toxic as hell, and so I got out. And I think like that's kind of pretty indicative of how they handle things, anyways. But regardless, it's a whole different story. Yeah. So I think that's our piece on esports there.
Yeah.
Do you want to cover like what else do you want to cover in the docket here?
Okay, let me just. We could cover maybe the sort of the next three is smaller ones, and then
Yeah.
I think that would put us in a nice time to move up to upcoming games.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. Because like I think I already mentioned Red Dead Redemption 2. This is just I'll just link the article and then I'll let you guys kind of leave it at that. It's not really an article, it's more of a video, but I'm actually going to pause that so it doesn't play. I'm just going to post this in the feed, but basically this is just like part of my reasoning for my prediction as to why I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be announced at E3. So if you want to check that out, it's on IGN. You can check out the video there. I don't think we really need to cover it any more than that. If people want to look into it, they can.
Yeah.
The Gang Beasts online multiplayer. Pardon, sorry?
I hope it's on PC. I just wanted to.
Red Dead
throw that out
Redemption?
there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I would like it to
Otherwise,
be.
I just can't play it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I would like them to put it on PC. Will they? Maybe a year after it's released, knowing Rockstar.
Yeah. GTA 5 was, I think, on the grand scheme of things, relatively successful. So I think.
Yeah, within their first week, they made $1 billion. Yeah, they made like $1 billion in the first week that they were there. Yeah, it was mildly successful. Yeah, it's a fair assessment.
I'd be quite happy with that if I was a developer.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is because it was on PC. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
Mods, PC has mods, and the mods are really good from what I've seen.
Yeah, well, also the multiplayer. If they throw multiplayer into Red Dead Redemption 2, oh shit, Wild West. I'm so excited. Like honestly, I've been wanting a cowboy game for ages because cowboy doesn't work in film really anymore, but I grew up watching westerns and I would love it if there was a Wild West game, and Red Dead Redemption 2 multiplayer would be a way to do that. So just saying, Rockstar, get on it. But yeah, no, I'd like it to be for PC. I think they will. Honestly, with the success of GTA 5, I think they will.
Yeah, I think it'd be a bit daft for them to not, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I think
I don't know. I don't really see them any reason to not do it.
yeah, I think it's the porting of it that can often be difficult. But with new game engines, it's usually a lot easier. So I don't know. We'll see. I think like I think it's a bit daft not to put pretty well every game on PC, but there's a lot of developers that don't do it. We just mentioned Gran Turismo.
Sports games.
Yeah, a lot of sports games. Yeah. Mind you,
the problem with the NHL games, they stopped because they said that for the price, the money they were putting into making the port just wasn't worth it.
Yeah. And back when they were doing that, it made sense. I think now it's a lot cheaper to do those ports, and they should reconsider it. But, I mean, I get it. They're not going to. That's fine. I still have other multiplayer games I can play on my TV if I want to. Because that's what sports games are for me. Is like if I have buddies over, I'm gonna play them. But I don't have a console anymore, so
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah, I just move my PC out into the main room and do it that way. Unfortunately, that messes with all my recording stuff, but it's fine. Make it work. Yeah. So I think it would be daft of them not to. Oh, we should definitely change the topic, though. Hey, well, we can just skip over Red Dead Redemption in terms of topic because we're not really covering that much of it. So, do we want to get into the gang beasts?
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
So the multiplayer beta for Gang Beasts is continuing. I've tried to get some keys for that, so fingers crossed there. It looks hilarious, and it looks exactly like what Gang Beasts should be. It's a physics-based brawler, basically, and so Gang Beasts Online is fucking hilarious because there are moments where, like, rubber banding is just more than possible, which is great. It's likely. And that's my favorite part of Gang Beasts anyways. Playing on wheel and grabbing one of the carriages and then grabbing onto the ground and then releasing the carriage eventually, but only after you've already flown into the air with your hand still technically attached to the ground. It's a buggy game at times, but honestly, it's so much fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, it just looks like a fun time, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Not much more to it than I want to try it.
I just had a bunch of friends over, like probably, I don't know, on Tuesday, I think, and we played Gang Beasts local, and it was so much fun. This first time I was actually able to play Gang Beasts with other than just like myself doing waves and stuff like that. So, it was a lot of fun to try that out and to actually play it. It was the most fun I could imagine having on on a couch with a bunch of people. I also was playing Crawl, but that's a whole other topic. I love that game.
Yeah.
Have you checked out Crawl?
I've seen people play it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Crawl is a ton of fun too. We were playing that for probably about an hour and a half as well. It was a ton of fun. But yeah, Gang Beasts multiplayer, the fact that I was able to do that on the couch with these guys was so much fun. The fact that they wouldn't have to come over to play that with me in the future, I'm so excited for that. That game, multiplayer, is, like, I mean, that's all it is. It's a multiplayer brawler, right? So, like, it's like Smash Bros. If you were to, well, I mean, oh, sorry, I shouldn't make that comparison at all. They're not the same game at all. But in the same way that Smash Bros, if you play it single player, other than the N64 one, which has that awesome campaign to it, but, Smash Bros, if you play it single player, it's a bad game. Like, you're just fighting bots. And it's like, whatever. But with Gang Beasts and Smash Bros alike, when you play the multiplayer, they are some of the most fun you can have. And so I'm excited. I'm excited for this, especially when it gets out of beta. That's what I'm excited for. When everyone who already owns Gang Beasts has access to it. But for the time being, if I can get the multiplayer beta keys, I'll be pleased as well. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah. So World of Warcraft cookbook exists. That's worth mentioning.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So that's in the feed now.
Can't say I'm really familiar with that aspect of it. I played a lot of the strategy games back in the day. Warcraft 2 is maybe one of my favorite games of all time.
Yep.
But I never played, the MMOE type stuff. But I'm still glad that it exists because it does look like something which, it's interesting at the very least.
Yes. I'm a big fan of food in general. I love cooking as well. So like this to me is just like, if you have like a geeky party doing some Warcraft themed foods, doesn't hurt, right? There's also like a Game of Thrones cookbook and stuff like that by the same people, I think. So yeah, I'm into it. The dragon breath chili looks really good. So
Yeah, I would eat a lot of this.
Yeah. The lilac claws are just cinnamon buns, which is awesome.
I like cinnamon buns.
Yeah, me too. So I'm into it. I'm into it. I'm excited about this. Like I'm not like, I don't know. I'm not too worried about it in terms of like I won't buy it probably, but I'll probably look at the recipes that are on this site and steal them. I think it might be interesting. It might be interesting to buy, but yeah. So
I mean, it takes something like food, which is already a great thing, and then just adds another level of fun to it.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Not really much to complain about.
No, exactly. And it looks good. The food looks good.
Yeah.
Like the Iron Forge rations even look good, which is awesome because I think they're just like they're baked potatoes with like ground beef and cheese and green onion by the looks of it. Maybe that's bread, not baked potato, but like
I was thinking it looks a bit like a thick flatbread.
Yeah, it might.
But I can see the potato to it now.
Yeah, I don't know. It might be flatbread. If it's flatbread, great. But like seriously, either way, it looks good. The sweet potato bread looks interesting. Dragon breath chili, as I said, looks amazing. The Hearthglen ambrosia, I think, and then the cherry grog. These are like alcoholic drinks. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Teaching you to mix stuff. The lilac claws are basically cinnamon buns, which is awesome. The honey spiced lichen, which sounds super interesting, honestly. So I don't know. I'm into it. I'm gonna check some of them out probably. Yeah. And then I guess let's get into, like, do we want to talk about the last one? We don't really need to. Google Daydream.
Yeah, I'm not really.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect us in any way. So, upcoming games we're excited for. Go ahead and take it away.
Right, okay. Coming back to last week, I mentioned I was watching a video about rogue Souls-like games, and I got a bit distracted by Necropolis.
Yes.
And wasn't really talking much about the others. In that video, it also mentioned a game called Death's Gambit, which is Salt and Sanctuary-like. It's a 2D, platforming Souls-like game, but it looks very interesting puzzle-wise. It looks like they're trying to incorporate a bit more of the puzzle aspect to it,
Right.
and a bit more of it's just trial and error, that sort of thing, with the environment. And you fight someone, you learn how they work, and then you go back and you can maybe fight them in a different way to make it easier.
Right.
Nice little art style. And try and pull a page up now. Again, we don't, not really a ton in the way of when it comes out or anything, but
Right. Yeah, it says available 2017, but it looks pretty good. It's kind of, it does have a very similar feel to it to Salt and Sanctuary, so that's interesting.
looks a little like brighter though.
Yes, it's definitely a different tone altogether, but like just in terms of like the actual gameplay loop, it looks pretty similar. Oh, that giant is giant. Oh, and you actually, okay, so it's kind of got like a very different feel to it as well, because you're actually climbing up the monsters and stuff like that with a grappling hook. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Just looking at Get Ready to Die a lot.
Yeah.
That's something I noticed.
Cool.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
My other thing was coming out this month.
Yep.
Total War Warhammer.
Right.
Just looks fun. It just there's this one video I saw. It was an advert on the IGN website.
Yep.
And it was like 15 seconds of just flying through a battlefield, and you could look around in 360.
Right.
And it just looks like really epic. I've never played a Total War game though, which was one of my things with it. However,
it looks interesting.
It just looks fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's also $72 or something Canadian, which is a lot of money. Is it
a full thing?
Is it an RTS? Looks like it might be an RTS.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I don't know. Oh, it's by Sega. Interesting. All right.
Yeah, they have quite a hold over the Total War, the Warhammer franchise.
Yes.
And Total War as well, I believe. I don't know. I don't really know a ton about Sega at the moment, but looks nice. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. It looks interesting at the very
away.
least. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's coming out soon, hey? 3 days. Yeah. I don't know. Real-time strategy games are pretty fun, honestly. I haven't had an opportunity to check them out recently. Like any real-time strategy games really, other than like, I guess well, no, that's turn-based. I was gonna say XCOM 2, but then no, that's a turn-based strategy game. So like, no, I got nothing. No real-time strategy games recently. This might be one worth checking out, but it's a lot of money. Like, it's a lot of money for a real-time strategy game, you know?
I don't disagree. I probably won't be getting it right away. I think.
Yeah, maybe wait till it goes on sale.
I'll be looking into it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see some reviews of it before I were to jump in for $72. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, so if you pick it up, and you do a review, you know, I'll check that out.
I may. I'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Similar sort of vein, Dawn of War 3 also was announced recently.
Sorry, which?
Again, it's Dawn of War 3 is another Warhammer game.
Yep.
Another Warhammer RTS.
Yep.
Which was announced, so, you know, not definitely, well, obviously not as close.
Yes.
With only being 2 days away, but it's a bit further off, but I'm just aware that they've announced that. Warhammer in general seems to be taking a bit of a step. There's like 2 other Warhammer games that have come out this month. There's like a third-person narrative-driven one.
Oh, interesting.
Is like super lore heavy, so it's not really sort of the casual thing, but
yeah,
people who are super into that lore would be into it.
Right.
And then another one which looks XCOM-y, which I don't remember the name of, but it also didn't look very good.
Oh, okay.
It seems to be getting pretty heavy on the Warhammer stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, maybe they're hot in development, but interesting. So, you excited for any other games?
I believe that's it.
Okay. All right.
Just looking through, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I found the third person one. It's called Eisenhorn Xenos. Is the other.
Okay.
That comes out in August.
Oh, in August. Wow, that's actually not too far off, eh? So that's pretty quick releases for Warhammer games.
Yeah. Based on the books, which I've not read, so.
Okay. Interesting.
But it exists. So yeah, there is.
All right. Yeah.
I believe that's it for now, though. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I mean, yeah. So games for me that I'm excited about, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't have that many that I haven't talked about already. So like that's
yeah, that's the thing with E3 coming up.
Yeah.
Most of my focus is on that at the moment.
Yes. And it's the same for me. Like, I mean, I talked about No Man's Sky last week. I've been keeping my eye on a couple of different games. I'm just trying to find the actual, because I can't remember the name of it. But there's one that I was actually pretty interested in. Yeah, okay, here we go. It's called Planet Centauri.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yeah, so I was looking at this one. I'm just actually gonna I have to change scenes. There we go. Anyways, it looks interesting. It looks a lot like Terraria, and then also like what's that game?
Magicite?
Yeah, it also looks like that, but there's another game that I was thinking of that I can't remember for the life of me. Whatever, doesn't matter. It looks a lot like Terraria. You know, it looks good. I don't know. It's an indie. It's kind of like got a bit of a roguelite feel to it. I think it is a roguelite, but it's an RPG action adventure type thing. But it has permadeath, so like that to me says roguelite. But there's definitely like a Terraria feel to it. I think.
Starbound.
Yeah, Starbound. That's the one. Yeah, it definitely has that kind of a feel to it as well. I think probably one of the things that I'm looking forward to about this is just that it's got like a lot of variety coming to it, and it looks interesting. It's also going to have co-op and multiplayer, so like it definitely looks a lot like Starbound. If, as you can see from the stream here, it's got like mechs and stuff. So like the Starbound feel is real. I like these kind of games. Like these are the side scrolly ones that I enjoy for the most part. So yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty interested in that. Other than that, like No Man's Sky is taking up a lot of my focus, and then E3. So I don't really feel the need to talk more about No Man's Sky. If you want to check that out, you can check out our last segment on that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much where we're at. So yeah, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I believe that's it.
That's it. Well, okay then. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna. Your cat is adorable, by the way. So we're gonna just quickly pimp our channels, but I think before we do that, we should pimp Playcrastination's channel for him, since he's, you know, currently a chipmunk. You can check him out at youtube.com/Playcrastination. Since he wasn't here today, you should harass him and make sure that he knows that he was missed. And for those of you who are interested in checking him out on Twitter, you can do that at Playcrastinate. So twitter.com/Playcrastinate. And yeah, you can harass him there, and you can check out that photo that he posted of himself looking like a chipmunk. So, yep, that's basically it for him. So why don't you go ahead and pimp yourself?
Okay, yeah, so you can find me over at youtube.com/YetiHype, and also twitch.tv and Twitter as well, are both just /YetiHype. And I've got some plans coming up on the channel in a couple of weeks, starting to move into some scripted content, so that's something to keep an eye out for. But yeah, just find me over there for coverage of a few different indie games at the moment, Salt and Sanctuary being one that's going to be starting tomorrow. So yeah, youtube.com/YetiHype.
Awesome. Okay, and I am Winterbear. So you can check me out at youtube.com/WinterbearGames and on twitch.tv/WinterbearGames. You can check me out on Twitter at twitter.com/WinterBear2015. I had to remember that one. Whoops. Anyways, new content coming out daily, honestly. So if you want to check that stuff out, you can. If you're interested in checking out Fractured Space, that video that I mentioned, the bare necessities of Fractured Space, has been posted today. So, well, yesterday. If you're watching this on the VOD, you can check out the VOD on any of our channels. So it'll be posted. I mean, if you're watching it on there now, it's posted now. But if not, it's posted on Sundays usually. So. Yeah, feel free to check it out there, and give love to everybody. So anyways, just to answer SideQuest's question, I have seen Blockhood. That is actually a game I am very excited about. So that's one I should have mentioned as well. But I'm actually going to be talking more about that next week. So yeah, spoiler alert for that, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, so thank you very much for everyone who tuned in today, and thank you for everyone who's watching on the VOD. And we will see you guys next week. Goodbye.
We will, yep. See you. I will look into Blockhood.
Good idea.
Yeah, Northern Line